Okay.
Well, we're not gonna go to the bar just yet, because we're gonna start doing more.
Spot.
So, for this time I'll sit back and drink a coffee, and you're just gonna do...
Are you taping?
Yep, we're taping. Do as many reps as you need to warm up like we did last time till you get to depth, and the thing, what did we end off focusing on last time? It was getting low, making sure your feet were correct, like the picture.
You told me that when I was doing it properly, I would feel like I would just hit the bottom and almost like bounce back up.
So what we're gonna do now is warm up until you find that spot.
Okay.
So I will, for now, because we've done this a few times, I'll just make minor corrections. I won't talk you through every step of the way until we get to the bar.
Okay, so I've tried my hands a variety of different ways, and this actually I found to be the most helpful.
Okay.
So my knees are going up over
So
my feet.
I still think you want your toes.
A little more pinky toe?
Yeah.
More pinky toe. Okay.
Just do a few, and then we'll start making corrections. So go ahead.
Okay, right.
Look at the apple. There you go.
That's an acorn.
Acorn, sorry.
See, that feels just so much more powerful.
Yeah.
It's really. I know this isn't about timing, but when I did them last time, I finished 3 reps in 10 minutes instead of 15 minutes.
3 sets, you mean?
3 sets.
Yeah.
3 sets of 5 reps each, and that's a
faster.
50 per. Sorry, that's a decrease. That's a third, 2/3 of the time.
I'm gonna your right, just your right toe. Move like a 1/2 inch in. There, try it now. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, you're looking pretty good. I think you're do one more and I'll judge you.
Don't judge me, man.
No, I judge Jeff. Judge Jeff.
You haven't seen my background.
You don't know what I did.
You don't know what I've been through. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm taking this very
Take a
seriously.
big belly breath for this one. So you're pretty much at parallel now, so come back up. So we'll pause for a minute. So you look like light years better than when we started.
Oh yeah.
A week
I hope
ago.
so.
So okay, so we'll pause and let your legs rest, and then we'll get back at it. So when you're getting to the point now where it's actually like you're now actually training it. You're not just stretching out of the bottom. You're actually getting a training effect from it.
Okay.
So breathing, we haven't talked too much about it, but breathing is about, once the bar is on you, it starts to become almost the most important thing that you gotta think about right before you're up. So like what you did there is you did take the big belly breath, but then you exhaled it right before you went down. So you're gonna take it in, and like you're gonna breathe between every rep. So even if you start to feel a little lightheaded or dizzy, like the whole rep shouldn't last more than a couple seconds. You know what I mean? So when you get to later lifts like deadlifts and presses, which you can actually have to grind through for 10, 12 seconds because it's a bigger range of motion. Then you do have to pay way more attention to, like, if you see stars or if your vision narrows or like that could be more important. You're not going to get to the squat with that for quite a while because it takes a long time to put weight on the bar for that motion, for that movement. Whereas a deadlift is like just picking something up off the ground. Most people can usually watch their deadlift quickly outpace the other lifts because it's the simplest movement pattern to learn. So your breathing, when you're doing it with the squat mount, it's almost like that is now becoming the thing that you're practicing. The same way before you were, stretching and you weren't really doing it for training effect, you were doing it for practice.
Okay.
Start thinking of your breathing as that way now too. So because you don't need a lot of cues now to get to the bottom of your squat, so just start focusing on your breathing.
Okay.
So every rep that you do, big belly breath out, like the pyramid, right, that we talked about, and hold it all the way down. And also what you should find a little bit, and this is, the dirty secret of heavy lifting. You notice most dudes that compete with World's Strongest Man, they have huge guts. Okay.
I noticed you're getting one too.
Yeah.
You wanted
So-
to do that.
yeah, well,
Okay.
it's partly because you got to carry a lot of weight around to, like, there's some truth to the saying mass moves mass.
Yeah, oh.
You know,
okay,
like,
yeah.
you got to carry a lot of calories around to continue to build muscle. But also, that pushing out, it's expanding your abdominal wall and all these
Okay.
things. And also, it actually gives you a little bit of rebound off your legs when you squat down. So when you see really skinny people go down, they are getting that bounce in their glutes out of the
Okay.
bottom. When you see the guys that are like squatting truck tires and
Yeah.
stuff on TV
Yeah.
or whatever, their gut actually is hitting their legs and getting a little.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
I don't want my gut to hit my legs.
Yeah, you don't want that, but at the same time, it is a good, it's a good little thing to think about because it tells you when you got to the bottom.
Okay.
Like if you feel your torso hit the top of your
Thighs.
thigh, as your thigh gets bigger, right, you can't go any lower than that
Okay.
without your form falling apart. So if you feel your stomach hit your leg or whatever, that is like that's the little.
I can feel the
turn.
bend in here.
Yeah.
Like in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
down again.
Let's do a few more and
Breathe.
yeah, breath in.
And stick my belly
But
out.
see, so notice how when you did your big breath in, your chest went up.
Okay.
It's like that's fine, but that's not what you're going for in the squat. Like that might happen when you take the breath in, but focus on pushing your stomach out.
That's a really different thing than I've ever
It's
done
it's
before.
not it's not a breath that most people are accustomed to
Yeah.
take. When you tell like a 6-year-old take a big breath, they go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is fine because that is opening the airway and letting the oxygen go in, but that's not what you want because remember the whole point of the breath
Push your
is
back.
to push your spine into a neutral position
Okay.
and hold it there.
Okay.
So it's called a Valsalva maneuver. It's like if you were to go out and try to push a car out of the snow,
Yeah.
you would actually do it naturally without even thinking about
Without
it.
even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. By the time I push that guy out. Like...
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Ready? I was actually staying down there because I could feel
Yeah.
this part of my tummy
Yeah.
touching my
Yeah,
legs.
yeah.
That's the
So
first time I ever felt
it's a
that.
nice little tactile. If your body is built in, and all Smith bodies are built in a way for this.
Yeah.
If your body is built, if you're like May,
Mhm.
May will never feel that.
Yeah, I know.
Her legs are skinny, her waist is small. Like
Yeah.
that as a cue is not going to help her at all.
Yeah.
Whereas if if I were to take like Tom or Jay or,
Yeah.
or if anyone we're related
Jimmy.
to, any head mark,
Yeah.
they're like their torsos are just built for it, and you know what I mean. So for those people, it's worth telling them like, hey, if you're trying to fight your torso down between your legs, that's too deep.
Okay.
But if you don't feel your stomach touching your legs, it's not deep enough.
I'm not deep enough. Okay. Okay. Am I doing this again?
Yep. Look at the acorn. There you go.
My feet okay?
Yeah, no, I'm just watching for depth.
I forgot to breathe. Here we go.
So this
And I
one.
also forgot to look at the acorn.
Yeah. So this one.
You threw me off.
Yeah, that's okay. If I'm not saying anything, it doesn't mean you're doing something
Okay.
wrong. I'm just looking to make sure everything's going the way we want it to. So. Yeah. Okay. You're getting real nice and deep here.
Thank you.
So keep do everything exactly what you're doing. This time though, you remember when we did the thing where we lied on the ground and I had you feel your lower back muscles? Because we're starting to get into the finer details of the squat. Now I want you to actually think like a mind muscle connection to those muscles. Like flex them and keep them flexed as you're going down.
Okay. Flex that.
So the cue, it's not anatomically correct, but it usually helps people visualize it. Think about arching your back. Okay. There, yeah. Yes, there you go. Okay, I want you to do that exactly, the exact same thing you did, just don't pause at the bottom.
Oh, just go down.
Just go down and come back up. You didn't do the same thing, you gotta breathe. Remember your breath in. Boom, that's a squat. There you go. That looks really good. Yeah, there you go. So everything you're doing is correct, but when you get to the top of each one, I want you to take at least a second or two to pause and go through your checklist.
Okay.
Don't just. We're not going for speed here.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. My body's.
That's fine. Mine does the same thing. So just focus on your low back on the way down. Arch your back. Nice. If you're comfortable, I like if you still need your hands, use your hands.
Okay.
But I feel like they're not doing anything for you
Okay.
now, and you seem to be mentally capable of keeping your knees shoved out. So
Okay.
maybe just do one of these.
Okay.
Just
Let
to
me just
have.
try- let me just see what
Yeah,
happens
sure,
if I put
just-
my
just
arms
to have
down.
something
I'll
to
just
do with
see.
it,
I'll
yeah.
just see what happens. No, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I'll tell you what didn't look right is because so far you've been very good about getting
Yeah.
your body at the right angle and
Yeah.
then keeping it there on the
Yeah.
way down and up. When you
Yeah.
kept your arms to
Okay.
your side, you stayed very vertical.
Okay,
So maybe just keep them anywhere, just whatever is.
Yeah, this is working. Like this,
Okay.
100% of the time, this is
Okay.
working. I don't see any reason to change it unless you tell me.
No,
to.
okay, go ahead.
Oh, I forgot to breathe.
It's just that you are going to lose your arms today. So.
When I go to sleep at night, I never know where to put my arms.
Yeah.
either.
All right, you're looking good.
Okay.
Looks really good.
Are we done? Or
Are
are we done?
you comfortable going to the bar? Yeah, your body can't learn new movement patterns
Yeah.
immediately. You got to think about what's going
Yeah.
on. So just talking it out helps a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
For me and you.
Yep.
So, okay, so we did the press last time. I was actually really surprised at your shoulder mobility was quite impressive.
Okay.
Like generally, like first of all, it's not really an aging thing, but the more you age, generally the less we do overhead. And
I'm
you
a
become-
swimmer, right?
Yeah,
I
so
do
that
backstroke and
helps
stuff
too.
like that.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna warn you, if you wake up tomorrow after we do this squat here, and you're like elbows and shoulders. And
I have
everything,
had a little bit of pain in the nighttime in my.
yeah, so it's normal. If it becomes actual pain, like borderline injury pain or
No,
whatever,
no, no. I didn't do
if it's soreness, that's different. Soreness is going to happen
I
just
just
because
had
your
soreness.
joint's not used to
Yeah.
do it. This is what you're going to be doing with the bar on the squat. The joints just aren't used to that. And if you need to if you're supposed to squat on a Tuesday, you're like, I can't do it with the bar or whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's part of the
Okay.
process. So don't be shocked if
Okay.
So I talked about this the first time, but now I'm just going to get more specific. What we're about to learn is called the low bar back squat.
Okay.
There are numerous different ways to do a squat and numerous ways to do a back squat.
Okay.
This one is called the low bar because generally when people say low bar or high bar, what they're referring to is high bar is it's sort of on the trap,
Okay.
your trapezius muscles here, and low bar it's below that. It's actually down on your delt right here.
Okay.
So the easiest way to explain this to people generally is just take one arm like this and reach behind you to your shoulder.
Okay.
And with the hand that you have on your shoulder, you want to feel around for a little bump on your shoulder blade. Usually women have an easier time finding it than dudes.
A little bump on my shoulder blade. Move my fingers to the right place.
You're like way lower than you need to be.
Oh.
It's like right there.
There. Oh, okay.
Put there. Feel that bump?
Is that my finger doing that?
Well, I'm
There, right there.
So that's called, if you imagine, I don't have I wish I had a plastic one to show you.
Yeah,
If you look at a shoulder blade,
Yeah.
it actually has a ridge across the top of it,
Yeah.
which is like, it's really easy to see on like young kids.
Yeah.
Like when you see Addie,
Yeah.
flex her shoulder, you can actually see there's like a little
Yeah,
triangle
it's like
shape to her
little
shoulder.
wings, yeah.
That's called the spine of the scapula.
Okay.
Generally, the rule for what's a high bar and what's a low bar, if it's above the spine, of the scapula is your shoulder blade.
Uh-huh.
If it's above the spine of the scapula, regardless of where it is in relation to your neck, it's a high bar. And if
Okay.
it's below it, it's a low bar.
Okay.
The reason we're doing the low bar is because remember all that stuff we did the first day about
Yeah.
driving your hips straight
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
The lower the bar is, the more you can use those muscles on your back
Okay.
side and keep the
Okay.
bar over the middle of your foot.
Okay.
So the outcome of that is finding the placement of the bar on your back
Mm-hmm.
is pretty much the most important thing.
Oh, okay.
If you screw that up, everything that we just did for the last 3 sessions doesn't really matter.
Oh,
So,
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So that's why it's really important to get all of that stuff correctly and then pause everything and just focus on bar placement.
Okay.
So even if we spend all day today just getting the bar placement down, that's a huge victory because that's literally the thing that you're training, right?
Okay.
So I'll move this forward a bit. Okay. So I'm going to start off. It might feel like you're like Michael Phelps with arms all over the place, but it's easier to start with your arms too wide and then move them in
Okay.
on the bar. So for now, I want you to just put your pinkies like right up against the ridges. Okay. And now you're just going to step under the bar with one leg forward
Okay.
and try and get the bar like what out here. If you back up, I'll show you how. Every single time I step up to the bar, okay, I go looking for like the lowest spot I can find, and then I move it back
to where
Okay.
those bumps are.
Okay,
You probably won't feel it the first time, so I'll tell you when it's there.
okay.
But the idea is like you want to get that bar as low down your back, and if you feel going all the way down the back of your arm,
Yeah,
that's what you're looking for.
that's what
the
you're
feeling
looking
you want.
for, okay.
And sorry, I should have mentioned thumbs over the bar. You don't want to do this. Like that.
Thumbs over the bar. Okay, with that wrist muscle, that palm
So,
of my hand
with-
muscle.
We'll get into
That
the ideal is the same way we did with the press. Your wrist is completely neutral. It's not here and it's not
Okay,
there.
Okay,
For now, because we're just trying to find the spot, don't.
worry about that?
Yeah, if your wrists do stuff, they'll do stuff, and then we'll correct it after.
Okay, so I'm gonna put my foot forward and put my head under the bar.
Exactly.
Okay. Now I pull a little bit under like that. And go, am I taking the bar
Yeah,
off
actually-
or?
You can, if you need to, you can. Go back under because you were looking quite flexible to start with. So
Okay, so I'm under here. That's about as low as I could get, how's that?
so now step your other foot forward if you're able to,
Uh-huh.
but keep the bar as low as you had it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's
Okay.
good. It's gonna be sore if
A
it's.
little bit painful on my left
Okay,
shoulder.
come back out then.
On my left shoulder.
What we're gonna start with.
Just-
Can you grab? So this is a heavier bar,
Okay.
but I don't think the weight is gonna be the problem for you.
No, it was just the,
Yeah. Actually, maybe it's not that much heavier. This is an aluminum bar, so it's quite light.
are those thick ends a weight on the bar or?
Those are called Olympic collars.
Okay.
An Olympic bar has these bigger collars, so because the ring on like a regulation plate is
Mhm.
much larger than
Oh,
on that
that.
bar. And there's reasons for that too. Okay, so go wide. So maybe go index fingers on these rings. And what we'll do is we'll gradually warm up to get narrower and narrower.
Okay, so those are there.
So
My
thumbs
thumbs
up, yep.
over the top, okay. My foot forward, okay.
Head under.
Head under. Oh, that's better.
Is that better? Yeah, okay. And actually your arms look good too. So now what I'm gonna have you do is just bring your other foot forward and both feet flat.
Okay.
And I'm gonna touch you and move you around just a wee bit, okay? So I'm gonna have you go there, and I want your,
Ah!
oh, sorry, okay. So wrist as neutral as possible.
Mhm.
And now drive your hips a little bit behind you, like the way, yeah, okay. Now if you can, stand up and take a step back.
Stand up and take a step back.
If you need to
With
come,
the pole exactly where it is on my back?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do
you
that.
can lean over quite, like your feet can be further back and you can be quite a bit more leaned over. The way you do you know how when you go into the squat?
Yeah. I kind of feel like my fingers want to go like this. My thumbs want to
If
go like
they
that.
want to be, the more neutral you can
Yeah.
keep your wrists, it doesn't really
No, I
matter.
think my thumbs need to be there. Now you want me to stand up with this on my back? Okay, be ready to catch it in case I drop it, okay?
No problem.
Ready?
Yep. There you go. Take one step back. Now lean over at the waist.
Oh, that's better.
That, yeah, there. That is how it should feel. Now step forward.
How's that?
Yep, good. So,
Okay, if anything I needed to work on in the days ahead,
Yep.
it would be making my arms more flexible to go back the way I made my butt more flexible to go down.
doing this is
Yeah.
how they're gonna get laid. And that's why I had that big disclaimer at the beginning.
Yeah,
Like,
about the soreness.
soreness,
Because
pain,
I
like-
feel like a pain right there and right there. That's quite unusual.
this is unpleasant every single time you do it.
Okay.
There is no way around
Good
it
to
because
know.
it's the thing is so I use the word unpleasant very specifically because it shouldn't be painful
Mhm.
and the soreness should go away.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, every time like I walk up to the bar, I have to do a whole bunch of sets just with the bar and
Yeah.
gradually walk my hands in and in.
Okay.
Just because the reason it's unpleasant is because if you do it,
Uh-huh.
if you go and you do your 3 sets of 5 at say, I think this is about 15 pounds.
Okay.
You're gonna come back 2 or 3 days later and add 5 pounds.
Okay.
And then you're gonna add 5 pounds after that, and you're gonna add 5 more pounds.
Is that my phone if I turn it off?
If you need to answer. Here, I'll pause it.
No, that's good. Here,
Okay.
I just turned the ringer off. I don't
Okay.
know what's going on.
So the reason it's unpleasant is because as you get better at it, you're gonna add more and more weight. And then every time you're doing that, like that feeling you had when the first time you stood up, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel that every time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like part of the reason to train
this movement specifically is to get used to that feeling. To be
Okay.
like, just because it's hard and just because it's heavy and just because the weight wants to fold your body over.
You don't quit.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
That doesn't
okay,
mean you're doing
okay.
something wrong. That means you're doing it right, right?
Yeah, okay.
So, but in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie. Like when I started doing this for real, like the low bar back squat, like really training a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
like I got elbow tendonitis. And
Oh, yeah.
like there are things. I was doing it by myself, uncoached.
Okay.
You're like, you know what I mean? I was doing things all wrong. But the thing is, it's just an unpleasant feeling because
Yeah.
putting a giant ass weight on your back.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be pleasant. You know, if getting strong was pleasant, everyone would
Everyone
be
would
strong.
do it. Yeah,
So-
yeah. I get that.
So
I get
this is why I was saying today, if we just get to the point where you can get that bar where it needs to be,
Uh-huh.
and
Stand up.
your arm and your wrists are fairly
Okay.
like neutral enough that it's
Okay.
not going to roll
Okay.
around on you, and stand up with it,
Okay.
that's a win of a day because that's the one thing that you have to get right every single
Everything
time.
else, okay.
If you come into the gym a month from now, and you squat, and you know your toe is half an inch too far out or half of an inch in, it's not great for your knees. It's not going to be the end of the world. It doesn't mean like your joints are going to explode and whatever. Like and you're going to do a rep and then like, no wait, and you're going to correct it. If you can't get the bar on the right spot and you go to do a
Nothing
squat,
else.
it's actually dangerous, right? You could go down, not come back up because the bar rolled down your back, or it could fold you over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like getting this thing right. If it takes a week's worth of training
Mhm.
or 2 weeks worth of training to do it, that's fine because that is what a low bar back squat is. It's
Okay.
getting that bar low to do the squat.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's what you're training, and that's the way.
Are there any, besides doing this, which I'll do, but are there any
Yes.
non-bar
Yes.
stretches that would help that?
Yes, and we'll go over those
Okay.
at the end. The best rehab and prehab exercises for the 4 lifts that we're going to learn
Mhm.
are the lifts themselves. Like the thing that's going to stretch
Okay.
you out the most
Okay.
is I can show you things with bands and lacrosse balls and whatever, using the wall to like apply pressure with it. Nothing is going to force your muscles into position like a very heavy weight.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So go back to index fingers there.
I just for now, I want to keep my
That's
thumbs
fine.
there.
It's- and you-
I can try to move them
there-
later, but
That's
my fingers aren't
there
strong
are
enough.
there are many of the strongest people in human history. That's exactly how they hold the bar.
Okay.
So don't worry about it.
To hold a weight with those 4 fingers is not going to happen.
Well, so
For me right
what
now.
we're aiming for is your fingers are not holding the weight at all.
It's my back.
Once the bar is in the right place, yeah, it's your back and legs that are holding the bar, and your hands are literally just there
Yeah.
to like guide it.
Guide it.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But for now, that's fine. We're still looking for the bar placement. So.
Okay. So am I doing this again?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to put 1 foot forward.
Yeah, and the first time you kind of put your feet too far
Okay.
forward, so I'd say like the bar always needs to be over the middle of your foot. So if you look at the bar straight down,
Mhm.
you should be able to see the power lift word on your shoe right there.
Okay. I can't even see my shoe.
There you go.
I'm
That's
sure.
fine.
Okay. Okay. So now, that one needs to be back a little bit further, and then I'm gonna.
It helps it when
Now I
you're-
have to dip my head.
Yep, there you go.
Okay.
We'll work on getting under the bar. There, look, see, that's already like light years lower than you had it.
Okay.
So
I'm
now,
gonna stand up.
for now, I want you to get in the habit of standing up with both feet. So bring that.
Oh,
yeah.
right. I almost forgot that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and now I'm gonna stand
And
up.
you're quite a bit more leaned over, which is good. So you stand up, and I'll be behind you.
Okay.
Step 1 back. Lean over at the hip. How's that feel?
That feels okay.
Okay. Is there any way you can put your? Oh, okay, go. If you need to step back, step back.
What
So-
were you gonna say? Is there any way you can?
So
what?
we'll do exactly what you did there. So when I tell you to lean over at the hip, you're very good. I want you to think about doing that before you lift the bar off the rack. So when you come
Okay.
under the
Oh, okay.
bar,
Then lean over from the hip.
stay leaned over,
Right, okay.
and honestly, the bar should come out of the rack just because your knees go up.
Okay.
So the reason you're feeling the weight back in your hands a little bit is you're so vertical that the bar is trying to roll down your back.
Okay.
You want to make like this little shelf with
Okay.
with your shoulder blades. to
Can I
hold
ask
up.
a question?
Yep.
So the exercise that I'm getting as far as the weight is concerned is standing up, and then I'm gonna squat down again and stand up again. I'm not ever gonna like go like that, am I?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No.
Oh, I thought, well, my arms aren't gonna
Yeah.
do that.
So that's fine if we pause and talk
Okay,
about stuff.
sure.
You will see dudes doing that. if they're doing it from a squat, like if they have the bar in a squat position and they're pressing up overhead, you'll see Olympic lifters doing that because it mimics the position they're in the jerk when they're pushing the bar up overhead. So they're moving so much weight and they need to be moving the bar as vertically as possible over the middle of their foot. When they train that lift, when they practice that lift, not in competition, but when they're just in the gym, they practice it from behind their neck. Okay? But they are doing it from a high bar position, like up above their traps, like we talked about earlier. You wouldn't do it from a low bar position because where you need your hands to be in a low bar position is way wider than they're ever going to press with it overhead. So you will see people doing it. It's a different movement, so don't confuse it. You're never going to do that. Like, I won't say never, but like while we're training this lift, you're not going to do that. So what you're going for here is like just stability of the bar on your back. Cool?
I think I'm doing better than I thought I was doing.
I still want you to do index fingers. We are going to gradually walk them in, but for now I want you to keep it there just while we work towards. So this time you're going to do all the things that you just did. Actually, you know what? Let's do one rep of what you just did. So just step under, lift it up, step back, and then step
under.
So your foot's a bit far forward. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, this bun was strategically.
Yeah, no, that's what you need, man.
Is that okay? Because I kind of really ducked to get the bun under the bar.
So I was going to show you. I mean, back up. This is one of those finesse things that it's not really. There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
But most people find, like what you were doing, is you're very close to the bar. You're putting your foot under. And then you're sort of like...
Yeah, I have to twist my head,
Most people find if they go... Because the bar shouldn't come under the rack until both your feet are under it.
Yeah.
So if you stand back with your arms out extended in front of you and swing forward and then move
do
your
this
foot
step. I think that would
yeah.
be more practical with given the bun that I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on just a second.
That's fine.
I'm glad I asked.
Yep.
Okay. So index finger here.
Boom.
My foot can go forward, and then I can go that way.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yep.
And now I bring this foot forward?
Yep. And so go maybe an inch more. Yeah. Okay. See how you're already leaned over?
Yeah.
That's where you want to be all the time.
Okay. And
So now just stand up with your knees and step back. Lean over your hip a bit more.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to move the bar just a wee bit, okay?
Okay.
If you feel like you're going to lose it, I have it, so don't worry. I'm just going to go.
Okay.
Okay, do you feel the weight on your back, not in your hands?
I feel it on my
Okay,
back.
step forward. Good.
Okay.
You know what?
What?
Does it feel like this is a bit high for you?
No.
Getting it in?
No.
Okay.
Once I got doing it from further
we
back.
can drop it that much lower if we need.
Yeah, no, actually, let's not do that.
Okay.
Last time we did this, I was wearing a braid, and it fell like along my skull.
Yeah.
This now I have like this big bob
That's
on
pretty
top
much
of
the
it.
hair you need because from now on you're gonna be practicing with the bar, so you always need that hair. You also always need a shirt like what you're wearing or like a rough cotton.
Yeah.
Because like those technical fabric t-shirts like you're wearing the first time, the bar will literally just slip
Slide right
right
off.
off that.
This is a great shirt.
That's
a hand-me-down from Z.
That's a perfect shirt for what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for some more of these. Where's the logo on it? What is
It's
it? Under Armour or
Lululemon.
Lululemon?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes, again.
So what we'll do is what you just did there, we will consider those reps for now on. So we're going to do another rep like that, and I just want you to gradually start walking your fingers in.
In a little. Okay.
If you're comfortable with your thumbs under, that's fine. But for now, I really need to start focusing on your wrist needs to be neutral, because what's happening is you're still figuring out like how to keep the bar on that shelf. If you accidentally go too vertical, you're creating a lever on your wrist, right? So it's the same. Remember when we did the press and I said you want the if you're not supposed to do this wrong, but if just by chance you go a bit too vertical and the bar starts to go backwards, you don't want it on your hand. You want it on that bone.
Okay.
Because that bone is what's going to keep it the right distance on your back, right?
Okay. So the index finger is still on this ring here.
Let's go like half an index finger over. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
And we'll just gradually walk them in.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep my thumb on
Yep,
this
that's
for now. Okay, so I'm gonna go.
So
down.
start elbow straight.
Oh,
Then put your foot in front of you.
okay.
And now step under. There you go. Ooh, looks good.
Okay.
So your feet are extremely narrow, right? Like look how close together they are.
Okay,
That's
these
fine
are
for that's probably that's probably stronger.
And now you want me to lift this up? You know,
With just your knees though, just your knees.
Step back with your back angle staying the way it is. That, boom. That looks great.
Okay.
Okay, so now step forward into the rack. Okay, that was the best one so far.
Awesome.
So what we'll do this time, we'll continue walking our fingers in just like by little increments. And this time, when you step back, you're not actually going to do a squat, but what I want you to do is keep your back angle the way you had it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take your step back,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to, while looking at your feet, put your feet into the stance that you...
That I've been practicing.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's about there and there.
I would go between your... Yeah, perfect.
It's kind of where it was
Yeah.
last time, actually. There we go. Okay, so there. And then I'm gonna put my foot forward and dip down under
So neutral wrists. Look down at your feet.
there. And down on my feet.
So keep your back angle the way it is and just extend your knees. Excellent. Take one step back, and I've got the bar in case there's a problem.
Okay.
So now just try to get into your squat stance.
I'm in my, okay, there's my squat stance.
No, it's a little bit wider. There you go, and toes out. So, boom, okay, so now just hinge forward a wee bit. Yeah, there. That's how you want the start of your squat.
Okay.
Okay, so let's walk forward. Boom. How's that feel?
That feels good.
Yeah.
Feels good. I can see the logic behind the order that you're teaching.
Yeah. It's
The order of
it's
operation.
why it's sometimes when you know, and you've noticed the last 3 times, each time we sort of had to stop and focus on one thing for a long time, is because you need to get those things, like those little things, they seem like details, right?
Mhm.
Because the squat isn't like any other lift. If when you're pressing overhead, if the weight's too heavy or you mess something up, you just drop it in front of
Yeah.
you. When you're trying to deadlift something up off the floor, there's a term they use.
Can't
It's
really
like,
do that.
that thing's pretty much self-regulating.
Yeah.
Because if you do it wrong, it either won't leave the floor or it'll just fall out of your hands.
Yeah.
The squat is the only lift, and this is why it's the best lift, the most important lift. It's like, it basically simulates a near-death experience.
Oh,
'Cause
jeez.
because when, like you saw, I could see it on your face the first time you stood with the bar, you're like, ah! You're like,
What if I-
wobbling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, like, getting each one of these little things right, you're doing that because eventually when you're training this, every time you lift, it's going to be the heaviest thing you ever lifted. Not for now, not for probably a couple of months, but once you're doing this for about 12 weeks,
Yeah.
you're doing it 3 times a
You
week,
want to be increasing.
every one of those 3 times a week that you're lifting something is going to be the heaviest thing you ever lifted.
Oh.
So you want to make sure you're not, when it's the heaviest thing you ever lifted, you don't want to be like, is the bar in the right place? Are my feet wide enough? You know, all those things you want nailed down now.
Yeah.
And then when when you have that panic attack because you're like, oh my God, this bar weighs more than I do.
This thing ever gonna take me right over backward?
No, not the, no.
Okay.
You'll never let it.
Okay.
Anyway, so if you are worried about that, the thing to focus on, and we'll focus on this one for the next rep, is that back angle
Yeah.
it never does this.
Straight. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You see Olympic lifters very vertical, or even they're squatting with the bar in front of them.
Yeah.
That's because the technical nature of their lift requires their body to be upright.
Okay.
For what we're doing here
We'll
now,
never
you
do
want
that.
way bent
We'll
over
never do
because
that,
you're
okay.
building that shelf with your
Okay.
shoulders.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
So let's go middle fingers on the rings this time. And your rep is going to be like walk in, pick the bar up with both feet under you,
Yeah.
keep your hip angle bent over,
Uh-huh.
step back,
Uh-huh.
and while physically looking at your feet,
Yeah.
just go into your squat stance.
Okay. The whole way all the way down.
No, just into your stance.
In my
Yeah,
stance,
Yeah,
in my
just
stance,
into your
okay.
stance. I think that's as far as we're going to go for today,
Okay.
because remember when I said the reason we do it without the bar first
Mhm.
is practicing all the stuff in the bottom
Okay.
is virtually impossible to do when you have the bar on you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we're going to leave that
makes
for
sense. That
another
makes
day. We're
total
just
good
yeah.
sense. Yeah, makes total good sense. Okay. So.
I'm not going to touch or talk too much for this
Okay.
one unless there's like 1 or 2 things that I want to
Okay.
let you know about.
Okay. So I'm gonna put my foot forward. Dip my head.
Yeah, there you go. You've loosened up considerably. And
Okay. Step back. Bending over. Okay.
And for this, you want to, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Toes out a wee bit. And I move this foot in. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much your squat stance.
Can I just do a little, just to
Yeah,
see how hard?
do a quarter squat. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, and now I'm gonna move forward.
Boom.
Alright.
Yeah. So it's
I do high five, but I can't lift my arm.
Yeah, you know what? Most people, especially you'll down low. You'll find people that come from different squatting styles, especially like guys that play high school sports or whatever, and because football players or like I'm sure Uncle P when he was wrestling
Yeah.
stuff, they do all kinds of squats.
Uh-huh.
It's very rare that they have a non-strength coach, like a
Yeah.
team coach
Yeah.
that knows this
Okay.
movement. So you'll meet people that have been squatting for years. You teach them a low bar back squat, and because they are strong enough to actually move a lot of weight,
Yeah.
the first time they do it, they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!
Yeah.
I can put 4 plates on here. This is great," or whatever, because it's a very strong squat. But their arms have never had so much tension and so much
Yeah.
like work on their
The pull on
shoulders.
your
That,
shoulder.
yeah, they wake up the next day and they're like, "Oh my God, what did I do
Yeah.
to myself?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So.
Okay. Well, actually, from the squatting down, we can trim this up, but from the squatting down, trying to be Addie,
Yeah.
which I'm
Yeah.
thinking of all the time now. Oh, she's so cute. Squatting down, trying to be Addie, I have not really felt any pain.
Yeah.
But then since I've done these,
Yeah.
like last night to fall asleep, I had to take some anti-inflammatories.
Okay.
It wasn't huge. But like I realized I woke up, then I woke up again, and no matter where I put my arms, I couldn't.
Okay.
So I took some anti-inflammatories and I fell asleep. But
Okay.
but that little bit that we did with the bar, obviously my arms are way weaker than my legs. Like,
Yeah.
I've always had very strong
That, which is
legs.
normal, right?
Yeah.
Because even though you may have gone, a long period of time without exercising
Yeah.
or training of any sort, you still moving around on your legs.
Yeah.
You don't
whether
walk
you
around on
can
your
or not.
hands.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
so,
That's right. That's right.
I will warn you, that's going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
tonight.
Oh, I fully expect it.
Yeah. Which is fine because it's half the reason to this will after 2 or 3 weeks
Mhm.
your shoulder, because you're doing it regularly, your shoulder health will become
Way better.
probably better than anything you've ever had,
Okay,
right?
okay.
This is actually a rehab exercise that they recommend to swimmers.
Oh, really?
Because swimmers get a lot of
Yeah.
shoulder problems, so
Yeah.
they'll show them how to do this just to
Yeah.
always keep your, if
Yeah.
you keep your chest open and your scapula is back, that's what's stretching out the shoulder.
Okay.
So it's good. Let's do another rep.
Another rep. Okay. Same finger on the ring.
If you can go narrower, but only go narrower if you can do it without bending your wrist. The moment when you start to feel your wrist breaking and your hand going under the bar, that means
Okay.
you're too narrow and go
narrow.
wide.
Okay, let me try this. Okay. Forward. Wait, no, never mind. Just me talking.
You did switch feet. I didn't tell you last time because I don't want to throw you off. The first few reps you did with your left foot, and then you switched to.
No way, I never
yeah.
did with my left foot.
Yeah,
Really?
you did. Yeah.
Really? You're sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
You're positive? Oh, I thought I always led with my right. But anyway.
I'm shocked at how much lower you're getting in the bar. So look at your
Oh,
feet.
sorry.
Yeah, stay bent over and look at your feet.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go get into my stance.
Yeah. So okay, good. When you come back up though, don't go vertical. But yeah, it's like that. You want your back angle to stay the way it is. Awesome. Feels good?
Feels good. Feels good.
It looks good. So not that you were rushing or whatever, but because you're starting to get the bar, you're hitting where the bar needs to be every time. This time it was cocked a little bit, at an angle. So just when it's still over the rack and you stand up with it, take a split second and be like, does it feel like I'm making that shelf? You know what I mean? Because it's great that you want to get to the point where you're squatting down, but the point of today is to find that shelf.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the point of today. I'm gonna try that one more time. Okay, it's always good for me to remember the point.
Yep.
Okay, so foot forward. Head under.
Yeah.
Okay.
So extend your knees and you're even a little bit too low now. Yeah, there you go.
There. Yeah, I can find the shelf right there, I think.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, so I'm gonna step back, get into my stance. Is it rolling around?
No, it looks great, man.
Is it?
For that one, I would say your feet are a bit narrower than what. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, look at that. Looks good.
Okay, that was good.
This is
Oh, sorry.
you're squatting now. I mean, it's
I'm sorry.
you're not all the way at depth yet, but you're gonna you're probably gonna wake up tomorrow with your
Yeah,
hamstrings
sore,
or glutes a little
yeah.
sore. How's it feel? Your shoulders feel?
I feel good. I feel like I don't want to push my luck with my arms. Like they're
You're
feeling kinda
going.
sore.
Yeah, we can skip presses
Okay,
today. This
okay.
is great. You actually went quite a bit lower than you needed with the bar, which is fine if you're doing what I said in the beginning, where like you go all the way down and then inch it back up to where it needs to be.
Okay.
But don't go all the way down every single time,
Yeah.
because you're gonna go lower and lower.
Yeah.
And then hold it there, because then the bar is like literally too low. Like you won't even be able to find the middle of the
Yeah,
foot,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? So-
okay.
I haven't-
I meant to ask you, I've never asked you this in relation to the squats or the presses. Are you supposed to, when you're done this, is there a stretch or something you're supposed to do at the end to, so you don't get super sore or anything like that?
So stretching won't prevent soreness.
Okay.
The reason you're getting soreness is if you imagine like your muscle fibers, when you're lengthening them,
Yeah.
they are tearing a little bit.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
what's
Okay,
telling
so
your body.
stretching isn't gonna help it.
So that doesn't mean
Okay.
don't do stretches,
Okay.
but here's the thing. So if you think back to the first time we sat and I was like, what you're trying to do here is trigger an adaptation in your body. Like you're applying a stressor to stimulate an adaptation. I'm not against static stretching. It kind of gets a bad rap nowadays, but stretching, mobility work, whatever, is another process of stimulating your body to trigger an adaptation.
Okay.
And when you're you're what's called a complete novice, because you're not detrained, you're sort of untrained in this lift. If you're an untrained novice and you're busy learning a new motor pattern, if you start introducing other stimuli that are quite stressful to your body, it'll you won't really adapt to either of them.
Okay.
And you definitely won't adapt to either of them optimally.
Okay.
So it's not that there's not a place to do it,
Yeah.
but for now what I would say is the squat itself is going to be the stretch that you need.
Okay.
So do that.
Okay.
If you're worried about soreness, the two ways that you're going to eliminate soreness, 3 ways. First one's training correctly and consistently. Sleep and eating, right? Because the thing
Got
that's
the last two covered.
yeah, the thing that's gonna say it's the back of your shoulder, right? The thing that is going to stop that from being sore is blood going there
Oh,
and
okay.
bringing all the proteins and
Yeah.
nutrition and micronutrients or whatever you need to build new cells. That predominantly happens when you're sleeping, and it doesn't happen in the absence of a lot of food. Like way more food than you think you need to eat. So if you're waking up consistently sore or having to take anti-inflammatories, the best anti-inflammatories are groceries. Like those, you know what I mean? So if you're waking up sore, walk out to the kitchen and eat way more food than you think you need to eat. You know what I mean? Because after 8 hours of your body at rest, rebuilding new muscle tissue, you really shouldn't be that sore. Like you might be sore the first 24
I've only
hours.
took anti-inflammatories once.
Right,
It's
right,
after arms,
Yeah.
not after legs.
Yeah. But it's a thing that most people don't realize. You don't get stronger doing this. You get stronger recovering from this. Only sleep and nutrition
Help you
are going to
recover.
make you recover. Really, there are other things you can do that make you feel good and expedite the process. Maybe like Epsom salts baths, the hot tub,
The hot
massage.
tub, yeah, it's open again.
Right, like those things will make you feel good, but the reason you're inflamed, the inflammation is like you have damaged something, like intentionally, and the inflammation is the signal to build more tissue so that you can lift more weight, right? So those other things, they do make you feel good and they are important, and even if they just have a placebo effect, that's actually very worthwhile. But ultimately, if you're doing those things but not sleeping enough and not eating enough, you're really just sort of masking you're like, it's like putting a coat of paint on a house
Yeah.
that's fallen apart. It's like, it's great.
Load-bearing paint.
Yeah, it's load-bearing paint, you know what I mean? So, and now that we have the bar, like you actually have a weight, it's an external resistance. Like gravity is, you are now fighting against gravity to move you and something else. You are going to notice like that damage goes up. Yeah, it's, you know what I mean? And walking the fine line between, is this actual pain or is this just I need more sleep and more food and to maybe take an extra rest day? Right? That's kind of the difference between someone who trains and someone who just exercises. If you just exercise, you're going in to do the damage with no like consistent long-term plan to be triggering that adaptation over and over and over again. Someone who trains is like, man, I'm sore. This is going to hurt my workout today. So I'm better off to go to bed really early, wake up early tomorrow, do the workout that I was supposed to do today, tomorrow, and eat more and try.
So
to
when I
get
wrote
rid of
you
it.
yesterday and I asked, because I
That
was
was-
tired
yeah.
yesterday, I actually felt
Yeah.
weary. And am I supposed to drive myself to do these
No.
exercises or
No.
do them when I feel really good?
Lifting's not like running or swimming or,
Push through
or
it,
stuff
yeah.
that they make me do in army
Yeah.
or whatever. You can't balls your way through a squat. Sorry,
Okay.
it's army term,
Yeah,
but
okay.
you like yeah, if you're not in the shape to move the weight won't move and you'll probably hurt yourself.
Okay.
You know? So now that being said, don't be a sissy. You know
No,
what I
no,
mean?
no.
Yeah.
Do you want to pause the video? This is long enough clip for
Yeah, this
you to
is
watch and edit, and then we can start a new one. Like a little twinge right here, just a little one which I have not felt to date.
Okay.
Yeah, I try never to do the Julia Child thing where you show them the
Change
ingredients
some, yeah.
and then you take it out of the oven and it's all done. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, if it's gonna be ugly and long,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you ugly and long.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, that's actually in computer demonstrations. The guy from Adobe was teaching us how to use Illustrator one time, and he was trying to build a graphic in front of the audience, but he couldn't. He said, "This is where I do with the Julia Child thing," and he just
pull out
brings
the
it, pulls out of
graphic,
nowhere the finished graphic.
So
you
once
know.
yours looks like this,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that could take you 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't talk about it. So I try never to do that in
Yeah.
a cooking video. I just think it's a matter of honor, you know. Julia Child calls it having the courage of your convictions. Like if you're trying to turn, in my case, it was a pate, a huge pate out onto a platter.
Yeah.
She was taking something out of a pan, like a potato pancake.
Yeah.
And she said, this is where you have to have the courage of your convictions, because she shoots the whole thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You don't just see it on the plate.
Yeah.
Kind of cute. Okay, so this
Let's
is
go middle finger on
Middle
that, yeah.
finger. Okay. I hope I'm not disappointing you by having my thumb under here. Did you start the camera?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not disappointing at all. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
For now, just do that.
Okay, so
The important thing is bar placement, and then the same way we did the squat, we found the bottom. Once we're at the bottom, we're comfortable finding it, we start working on the little details.
okay.
It's the same here.
Okay, so here comes foot forward, head under. This on, other foot forward. Okay. Is that in the right place?
Yep, it's perfect. It's the best one yet, actually. It's completely level.
Okay, I go back like this. I get into my squat.
So,
Okay,
heels a little closer together, but keep your toes where they are.
like that. Okay.
If you're comfy, go down. Yeah, it looks good, man. There you go.
Okay, and now you want this back on the rack, or do you want me to go down more?
Can you put your toes out just like a 1/4 inch maybe, and then now try going down and see how that feels? A little bit better.
Okay, and am I keep doing this?
No,
or am I-
step forward. That's fine. We accomplish what we need to accomplish. Good. How's that?
Whew, I'm a weightlifter, man.
Yeah, you are. This is it. How your shoulders feel?
Yeah, they're gonna hurt tonight.
Yeah.
I can-
They're like, it's obvious that this worked though, because your hand, like when you started on that bar, your hands were way outside these rings, like they were almost up against this thing.
Yeah, they were.
And you couldn't even get the bar low
Yeah.
enough. Now you're getting it in the right spot every time, and you're gradually,
Moving in.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's an increase.
Okay.
Right? So
Am I doing it again?
I think you should let's do 2 more.
2 more. Okay.
We'll do 2 more, but each time we'll do 2 squats.
Okay, I can do that. Actually, the squatting part is the easy part.
Yeah, you're making it look very good. So I'll give you one cue about your squat to think
What's that?
about. Is it because we took your arms away?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you
I'm
weren't
not
doing
thinking
it. I wasn't
that
even
enough.
looking. I wasn't even looking, so I
Yeah.
don't know. But because we took your arms away, get your whole setup, get your stance right, and think knees shoved out, and then do the squat.
And knee shut out and then do the squat. Okay, so here comes my foot forward, my head under, another foot forward. Okay, bent over a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna move those a bit lower. That's fine.
Okay, like that. Shove my knees out.
There you go. Do one more. See if you can get a bit lower. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that feels good.
Yeah. Okay. That was awesome. We're actually getting way further ahead than I thought we would. So we'll rest a second. Your knees look good. I was watching
Good.
when you were going out, so your knees look good. So keep that one in mind. And then for these last 2, this will be the end.
Okay.
For these last 2, the hips. Drive the
Drive
hips
from
straight
hips,
up.
okay.
And the cue I always use for this is like, imagine trying to touch the ceiling with your butt.
Good luck with that.
I don't know why, just for some reason when you explain that to people,
Yeah.
that just gets them, it just makes them do the right thing. I don't know
You're a
why.
motivational genius, Dave.
Yeah, I stole that from somebody online, I forget who.
Okay. Foot forward, butt under. Other foot forward. Up, back.
Squat stance. Remember
remember, don't rush through anything. So get your knees up.
Turned out.
Do one more and focus on moving your hips up. There, that's it. That's the squat right there. Did you feel the difference between the first one and the second one?
Yeah. I felt like I was being lifted on string.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the book. There's actually a picture to illustrate it of one dude standing on a ladder holding a chain.
Yeah.
And the other guy in the bottom of the squat, and the chain is like.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Was that the last one or something?
Last one,
Okay, good, awesome.
Can you lift your arm?
Yeah, I can lift my arm.
Feels good?
This is the Dos Adios,
Feels good?
Dos Adios last one. Yeah, that felt really good.
Yeah,
That was good.
so the last thing we'll talk today, because now you are now training the low bar back squat.
Okay.
We have to write down everything you do from now on.
Okay.
So.
I write it down, or you write it down and give it to me?
No, you're gonna write it down.
Okay.
Like I will. You're essentially gonna be doing the same program that we've been doing. It's just this is what you'll be training now, not like hanging out in the bottom.
Okay.
But I don't know. I know you're kind of an E person. If you want to do it on your computer, you can do that.
Yeah, I can
have a
make a little
notebook.
checklist and check them off as I do it. That's what I would do.
Yeah. So you're gonna like. It's sort of important to write down what you plan to do, but the important thing is writing down what you actually do.
Okay.
We weren't because we've been practicing so much here. We don't need to worry about it today. But from now on, when you do your 3 sets of 5 with your rest times, you're gonna write down like exactly how many you do. I think this bar is 15 pounds if I remember. So you would write down 50. I'll show you the notation for it. 15 pounds for 3 sets of 5 with 90 seconds rest.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
In between, 90 seconds. Okay.
Or yeah, we can talk about rest times because it's been.
I generally have to drink water.
Yeah.
Step around a little bit.
Yeah. Now that you're adding weight, your rest times are gonna have to get longer and longer and longer because in the when you're a novice, you're trying to just maximize the easy low hanging fruit, getting weight on the bar. So there is no virtue during that phase of your training to be doing it like as fast as possible. You don't want to do 3 sets of 5 in 10 minutes and miss your last couple of reps when you could have done 3 sets of 5 in 20 minutes
and
made every
I haven't missed any reps yet.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah. So it's
like once I get rolling, I haven't been. Oh, I'm so tired I can't finish. So 3 sets of 5. Good God,
It was good though.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Like
it feels good. I can
the bar's
definitely
not
feel my
intimidating.
arms more than I've ever felt my legs for sure. But
that's why we split it into 2
Yeah.
phases, right?
Yeah.
It's not worth trying all the stuff we did the last 2 times. Imagine trying to do that with the bar.
No, I couldn't do that. I
so-
couldn't do that. I always have to bear in mind, running, cross-country skiing, use your arms. Running and swimming are pretty leg intensive. Like when I look at that picture of me on the beach, my legs
Are jacked,
they're jacked, yeah. And but the one thing I do have, I'm not like for you. You're talking over years. I'm talking over decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over the decades, is that when I swim, I've always tried to do all the strokes, so that I do actually I do the backstroke and I do the elementary backstroke and do the butterfly.
Yeah.
Even though that I'm never good at that, but I have used my arms consistently. I see some people like at the pool that are holding a noodle and just kicking their feet. And it's like, wow, the one, they do the opposite.
Eliminating 50% of the benefit of it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm fairly confident I can do this.
Yeah.
Years coaching, being nice and gradual and building piece by piece has been really helpful.
Yeah.
Has been really helpful. Actually, there's no other way. I couldn't do it no other way.
Yeah, and it's when you're when we're in this dynamic where you're not paying for this coaching. It's like stretching this out for as long as it takes, or possibly even longer. Is way more effective than you go to the gym,
I'll guide
800 meters from here, and pay a guy, $120 an hour that's gonna try and show you 4 lifts in that hour. Like it's not.
I can't do that.
Yeah. So and also no matter how fast your brain can absorb all the information, it takes your body time to adapt, right?
I could learn 4 lifts in an hour to save my soul. But
Yeah.
okay.
It's awesome.